No milk, please, no more milk. Hello, I am the Irish guy, and right, so you want me to do Premier League predictions every Friday, right? Okay then. Okay, here's game week 7. Right, let's go. Aston Villa 3, Brighton 1. I know people think that Brighton and Hove Albion are the most exciting invention since earwax toast. Don't knock it till you've tried it. But let's be real, they hate playing against Aston Villa. They've lost them in each of the last 4 meetings, conceding 2 goals every single time. Roberto De Zerbi clearly has about as much fun facing off against Unai Emery as he would be forced to eat 6 rats for tea. And yeah, this is a battle of the squads where desperately trying to balance having European football now, and I know it's only the end of September, but I would imagine some of these players are already wheezing and spluttering like an asthmatic penguin. But yeah, I still think this is going to be a pretty comfortable Villa win. Both these teams are hit and miss this season. One afternoon they could look amazing, and another look like an incoherent bunch of blind badgers. I mean, has everyone already forgotten that Villa began the season by conceding 5 at Newcastle? Brighton might be 3rd in the league, yes, but they've also lost 3 games this season, so yeah, I think Ollie Watkins is going to bag a hat-trick. Brighton might squeeze a late consolation through a Joe Pedro wonder goal. Oh yeah, this could be a pretty easy, comfy Villa win. Bournemouth 1, Arsenal 1. Everyone in the media is trying to run Andoni Iraola out of a job, purely because they'd never heard of him 2 months ago. He's under pressure because of people's ignorance. That's all it is. I'm convinced of it. Everywhere you look in the media, the narrative is that,
oh, he hasn't won a match yet.
Adam McCullough has already said that Bournemouth fella is going to get the sack.
So who could be in danger? That Iraola Andoni at Bournemouth.
Iraola Andoni? That's not even his name, Adam. Everyone is being so unfair to this guy because everyone is assuming he's just some Spanish pumpkin who is lucky to be given a Premier League job. Listen, I've been guilty of this too in the past. I didn't know anything about Mauricio Pochettino when he swapped Espanyol for Southampton, and I'll admit it, I just thought he was a chubby Wolverine. As if Hugh Jackman had suddenly developed a fondness for pies in between films, he couldn't even speak English. I assumed he also had the tactical knowledge of scrambled egg soup, that he couldn't cut it outside of La Liga. I was wrong. It's 10 years later, and he's now in charge of a £1 billion squad at Chelsea, having worked with Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe in his last job. So similarly, do not sleep on Iraola. No, he hasn't won a game yet, but I'm sorry. West Ham, Liverpool, Tottenham, Brentford, Chelsea, Brighton, and now Arsenal. Yeah, I mean, give Gary O'Neill that fixture list, and they'd be bottom of the league, and he'd very much look about as competent as a cartoon squirrel. So yes, this is going to be another match where Iraola fails to win, and he's probably going to have some zombie pundits showing such medieval knowledge, once again tipping in for the sack. But no, this is actually going to be a great result. The Cherries once again play beautiful, adventurous football now. This is a lot closer to their identity under Eddie Howe, while Arsenal are sort of unconvincing this season, just squeaking out 1-0 away wins at Crystal Palace and Everton. I think they'll grab an early goal here through Bukayo Saka after 10 minutes. But Bournemouth will then come at them, creep back into the game. Suddenly, David Raya is going to be forced to pull off a bunch of top saves as the cameras flash to Aaron Ramsdale on the bench. I mean, this time, he's going to be so nervous and insecure on what to do that he instead just gets sick in his lap. But yeah, I think the Bournemouth pressure will pay off. Dominic Solanke will squeeze in a late goal, and the Arsenal fans will then gather outside the stadium to scream into a microphone like a bunch of hysterical vampires at the end of I Am Legend. But yeah, quality Bournemouth point. Just you watch. Arsenal are not winning this match. And if they do, if Arsenal win, I'll chuck a cup of hot chocolate in my face. Everton 1, Luton Town 0. Yes. Lads, I am virtually guaranteed at least 1 more week, probably 2, without having to have a milk shower. Lads, Everton are being presented with such an easy home match with Luton Town. Win this game and move on to 7 points, away from the relegation zone. Yes, 7! No more milk bats for me! I can taste it. The dry Monday morning. It's going to be oh so wonderful. Lads, I am so confident in this. If Everton somehow are in the relegation zone after this game week, then not only will I do my milk shower, but I'll do it 5 times, because there's no way Everton lose this match. Not to a bunch of terrified static snowmen like the little Luton squad. Don't get me wrong, it'll be a hideously grim, ugly match. I mean, to everyone piling into this ground, just be prepared. A bit like how the local DVD shop should warn you when you rent the Human Centipede with your mum. You might be traumatized for life, and she might tell you never to come back to Ireland for another Christmas. I've said too much. But yeah, it'll be terrible and probably last the match of the day. But I reckon Beto is gonna fumble in his first Everton goal on the stroke of half time. 1-0 Everton win. Man United 2, Crystal Palace 0. Didn't we already have this game this week? Didn't we already see what happens when Manchester United face off against Crystal Palace at home? It was a pretty easy, comfortable 3-0 win. And now we're already having the rematch 4 days later? To be fair, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was at the wheel, he was developing a nasty habit of getting embarrassed by Palace at Old Trafford, losing 2-1 in August 2019 and then 3-1 in September 2020. He was a bit like the opposite of Prince Andrew because the Palace were embarrassing him. He used to be tactically obliterated by Roy Hodgson on an annual basis. To be fair, Eric Ten Hag seems to have got a grip on that nonsense. And so yeah, this will be another very boring, tedious, routine and mundane United win. With Marcus Rashford and Rasmus Højlund banging in the goals, 2-0. Newcastle 4, Burnley 0. Lads, Newcastle versus Burnley, for a couple of years there, looked like one of the ugliest fixtures in English football. When this was Steve Bruce pitting his wits against Sean Dyche. Oh no, it was a bit like watching two hippos mating at the zoo. There was a horrible 0-0 draw at St James's Park in February 2020, where there was a combined 4 shots at target. Although lads, this was one of the last games before lockdown, right? Which only feels like 5 minutes ago. But look at the Newcastle team. Martin Dubravka in goal, a back four of Javier Manquillo, Federico Fernandez, Jamal Lascelles and Danny Rose, a flat midfield four of Matt Ritchie, Isaac Hayden, John Shelby and Joe Linton, and a strike force of Miggy Almiron and Dwight Gale. The fact he had Fabian Schär, Sean Longstaff and Alisson Maximin rotting on the bench. What? But this just shows how unrecognisable Newcastle are today. I mean, Danny Rose! That was before he started dressing up like Ashley Kozak's wife. But there was another 0-0 draw at St James's Park between Bruce and Dyche in August 2021. Again, a combined 4 shots at target, where Newcastle actually set up with 5 at the back. Did Bruce really think he needed 3 centre-backs against Jay Rodriguez and Chris Wood? 2 absolute human recycling bins? Bruce literally had Joe Linton at his disposal, and he just chucks him up front to flick the ball on for Gale, while shoving Ryan Fraser and Jeff Hendrick in centre mid. Oh wow! I guess he really did have the modern tactical knowledge of a dinosaur with the flu. But listen, this is now a battle between Eddie Howe and Vincent Kompany. 2 progressive coaches who actually like to get the ball on the floor. So this might actually be the first Newcastle versus Burnley match that is pretty to watch. We've never seen these teams go head to head when they're actually trying to both play football. So this will be a weird watch. It's not what we're used to. It's like chucking on a James Bond film where the plot is just that he and the bad guy just paint their nails for 40 minutes for giving each other back rubs and sharing stories about their first kiss. This will be strange to see Burnley travel to St James's Park and actually try to attack. But I think Newcastle will just pick them off. In the same way Tommy Fury will pick off a naive KSI. Sorry, I know I keep mentioning that fight, but am I the only one who's excited for it? Maybe I do deserve a milk bath. But come on, Newcastle just played against a newly promoted club last week and stuck 8 past them. Don't think for one second the Kompany won't be scared. He probably heard all the ghost stories about Manchester City travelling to the northeast and conceding 8 just weeks before he joined in 2008. So he'll be a little scared that he's up for a managerial obliteration. I mean, let's be real. Scott Parker never recovered from losing a Premier League match by 9. The only club who gave him a job after that were Club Brugge. Weirdly, a rival of Kompany's Anderlecht. And Newcastle just beat Man City too. And they welcome PSG next week. So St James's Park is going to be rocking. So I think Kompany will second guess himself a lot. And yeah, Newcastle are going to flatten them. I'm going to go with a 4-0 win. Anthony Gordon with 2 and Callum Wilson with 2. Simples! West Ham 0, Sheffield United 1. Yeah, this is the Carlos Tevez derby. Is this still a rivalry? We all know when Sheffield United were relegated in 2007 after Tevez kept West Ham up, even though that was an illegal signing. So I can understand why the Blades were bitter. So yeah, expect to see Tevez masks in the crowd this weekend and for there to be a few meaty challenges, but I'm going to go with a shock win. Paul Heckingbottom is so desperate for a result to save his job. He is going to deliver the mother of all team talks. Surely, after an 8-0 embarrassment, these players are going to have absolutely been grilled on the training pitch. For the sake of their own pride, they cannot dare to chuck in a bad performance. Absolutely not. That's when teams get dealt an awfully embarrassing, historical, almost record-breaking Premier League defeat. They rarely lose the next match. Bournemouth last season, after a 9-0 loss at Anfield, they kept a clean sheet against Wolves in the next match. They actually then went on a 6-game unbeaten run. Southampton lost 9-0 at home in October 2019. But to be fair, their next game, they were given the hardest fixture in English football, but they actually led at the Etihad for an hour and only lost to a late Kyle Walker goal. Wigan conceded 9 goals against Tottenham in 2009. The next week, a win and a clean sheet against Sunderland. Sunderland lost 8-0 to Southampton in 2014. Their next match was a gritty 2-0 loss against Arsenal, but they then went on a run of just 1 defeat in 8, including a derby win at Newcastle. Teams who get record-creakingly bad thumpings in the Premier League rarely just respond with more embarrassment. They usually come out and try to restore some pride. So yeah, I reckon this is going to be a committed, solid Sheffield United performance. Trust me, they're winning this match. Trust me. Wolves 0, Man City 5. Oh, very simple. Man City are going to make absolute mincemeat of Wolves. Wolves used to be Pep Guardiola's bogey team, but come on. They've won the last 5 games against them, including 1 match where Kevin De Bruyne led a 4 at Molineux. I'm sorry, this is going to be an absolute formality. An easy, and I mean easy, 5-0 win. Tottenham 3, Liverpool 2. This is going to be a gigantic mammoth match. Tottenham versus Liverpool is usually a good game. It's always been a fixture that has goals. These are 2 clubs who have been wounded but not getting into the Champions League. Honestly, both sets of supporters will be watching Newcastle welcome PSG to St James's Park and feel like jealous vultures. I think this will be an absolute rockstar match. Both teams will just go for it. A bit like the North London derby, there will be goals, wonder saves. I think James Maddison will pull the strings and be man of the match. But yeah, I'm going with 2 goals from Darwin Núñez and a hat-trick from Son Heung-min. An absolute monster 3-2 match. Just you watch. Nottingham Forest 2, Brentford 2. Is this right? There's only one game of football on Sunday afternoon. Sky, don't you dare call this Super Sunday, because it looks about as appetizing as a pie filled with spiders. Nottingham Forest versus Brentford. How many neutrals are really going to spend that afternoon on the edge of their couch excited for this? I mean, just wait for the C team list of pundits that Sky have to drag in for this afternoon. Theo Walcott, Troy Deeney, and Jermaine Genius' mum. Well, lads, Brentford love a 2-2 draw. They've had 5 inside the last year, including 2 this season already. I reckon it's going to be a fairly entertaining match. This fixture also ended 2-2 at Forest Stadium last year, so yeah, both teams will play fairly well. Callum Hudson-Odoi will spank in another wonder goal. Yeah. 2-2. Fulham 0, Chelsea 1. There is no more damning indictment of how bad Chelsea been lately than the fact that you can't even beat Fulham anymore. This was always labelled as a West London derby, but lads, between October 1979 and January 2023, Fulham only beat Chelsea once. In 40 attempts, 1 in 40. Before Graham Potter took the wheel, Chelsea had not lost to Fulham in nearly 17 years. And even that was when Chelsea had practically won the league and were already on the beach in the spring of 2006. Chelsea lost to Fulham in January of this year, and then 3 weeks later failed to beat them at home. Just a sour 0-0 at Stamford Bridge. Lads, Chelsea have not lost 2 consecutive games at Craven Cottage since 1977. Surely that cannot be allowed to happen. Surely Mauricio Pochettino cannot lose a 4th game this season, because if he does, then the form graph just looks identical to last season. It'll mean that nothing will have changed since Potter and Lampard. Chelsea need to win. They haven't scored a Premier League goal in over a month. I mean, come on, this has to be all 3 points for Pochettino, and definitely not a defeat. And I think they'll get it. It'll be a scrappy, nervous performance from Chelsea. Fulham will miss some massive chances in the first half, but no, Chelsea will dig in, survive an onslaught in the first 20 minutes, and then yeah, someone like Raheem Sterling will nick a late winner. Breathe, Chelsea fans. It's going to be okay. Anyway, that's even it. What do you think? Let me know. What are your predictions? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give a like, subscribe as always. I'll talk to you in a while.